Deputy Heath Gumm gave his life in protection of our community. A young man, 31 years old, who leaves a wife and grieving colleagues at the Adams County Sheriff's Office. Tonight, the sheriff spoke of Gumm while spending considerably more time airing his grievances about the news media. We will look at the sheriff's concerns in a moment. We want to begin with a remembrance of the deputy who rushed to help people in Thornton last night on the final call of his short career. Here's Steve Steger.
Deputy Gumm spent a lot of his free time on the ice. A member of the Fighting Nemos, a hockey team made up of fellow law enforcement and firefighters. His line mate told us he was down to earth, truly a brother. He brought fun to life with his quirkiness, he said. That's when we learned Deputy Gumm played defense. Fitting, really. Defending must have been in his blood.
It doesn't surprise me that he spent his professional life helping other people.
One of his former teachers at Mullen High School says kind is the word that comes to mind when you hear someone say something about Deputy Gumm.
I think at a time like this, it's important to talk about the impact that a deputy has on a community.
Kindness that seemed to carry on to the job.
It was just a few weeks ago that we received a letter of gratitude from an Adams County mother. She was moved so much by the level of service that Deputy Gumm provided to her son.
The Adams County Sheriff says there are many stories like that over his 5 years with the Sheriff's Office. He impacted many people, many thankful people. For Next, I'm Steve Steger.
We are certain there are more Coloradans who had memorable interactions with Deputy Gumm as he served our community. If you feel comfortable sharing them with us, we will share them with Colorado. Our email is next@9news.com. The Adams County Sheriff also said today that there had been talk of two suspects on the loose in Thornton near 88th and Sheldon Drive. We want to be clear, that was not just talk. The information about the two suspects at large came directly from the Sheriff's Office's official on-camera briefing last night. Tonight, the sheriff clarified that those two suspects were not involved in the shooting of the deputy. They were involved in the original assault incident that brought deputies to that area. The perimeter around that neighborhood was lifted this afternoon, and more than a dozen schools that were closed today during the search are expected to be open tomorrow. The only known arrest in this case came about 90 minutes after Deputy Gumm was shot, the bullet bypassing his ballistics vest he was wearing. The Adams County Sheriff's Office said that they located their suspect after a search near the scene. Darion Martise Deering was booked into the Adams County Jail this morning on multiple counts of murder of a peace officer and a single charge of burglary. We're not showing his mugshot at this time at the request of the Sheriff's Department. That is a standard request that we often honor as law enforcement conducts lineups with potential witnesses. Deering has a criminal history. He was convicted of robbery in Denver and spent 2 years in the state's youthful offender system. In that case, he stole an iPad from a woman. He was released in August 2016. He's going to make his first court appearance on these new charges Friday afternoon. Adams County Sheriff Michael McIntosh spoke publicly for the first time since the shooting today, focusing on what he called inaccuracies in reporting on the incident. The sheriff did not cite any specific examples of inaccuracies, which journalists could then correct for you in the public. We're about to hear Channel 7's Tony Kovaleski ask the sheriff what specific misinformation needs to be cleared up.
You talked about a lot of inaccurate information out there. Can you talk about maybe the two most significant things you'd want to correct that have been reported inaccurately?
I guess it's difficult to know whether the information is inaccurate or if it's just not timely, and that would be that would be the information that I would be giving you. We had taken steps to make sure that we were holding that information. Somehow it got out, and that can jeopardize an investigation.
So there you heard the sheriff referring to the fact that somehow the suspect's name got out. Under Colorado law, the government cannot keep arrests secret. At Adams County, the arrests are posted on their own website, the jail log of who's coming and going. That's how that information became publicly available today. Certainly, if we find out about any specific inaccuracies in our reporting, we'll correct them here. But it appears at this point that what the sheriff is calling inaccuracies is actually accurate information that he just didn't want reported yet. I would ask you to consider giving if you are willing and able to support Deputy Gumm's family in the months and years ahead. There was a bit of confusion today about where law enforcement wants those donations directed. We'll give you all the info we know. The Colorado Police Officers Foundation has set up a PayPal account on its website for the Gumm family. You can donate online or you can mail in a check. If you use a credit card online, just know there's a small processing fee that's charged by PayPal. As of this afternoon, the Police Foundation says there were more than 600 donations raising more than $22,000. But then this afternoon, the Adams County Sheriff's Office asked that donations instead be directed to a fund that they have set up. You can take a look at both and decide what is best for you. We have those links on 9news.com. Deputy Gumm's death is the second law enforcement death in Colorado in less than a month. We know that a lot of people are still grieving the loss of Douglas County Deputy Zach Parrish, who was killed in Highlands Ranch December 31st. We want you to know whether you are close to these tragedies or just somebody in the community who feels overwhelmed by them. There is help available right now, anytime, 24/7. The Colorado Crisis Line is always open. It's a real person ready to help you talk through it and problem solve. They're not going to pass you off or refer you. You can also text the number there on the screen. The man who went on trial for killing an RTD transit security officer, Scott Van Lanken, was found guilty today of first-degree murder. Joshua Cummings will spend life in prison without parole. It's the last we'll speak of him. Scott Van Lanken is the kind of man that we would have liked to meet here on Next. 56 years old, man of strong faith. He was a pastor who had taken a job working security to help provide for his family, including an adult daughter with disabilities. His wife, Shelley, told us that she hoped that people would forgive the man who took her husband's life. Remember Mayor Michael Hancock's splashy refusal to meet with President Trump yesterday at the White House? This whole "I'm not going" because of the talk about sanctuary cities? So about that, here's Marshall Zellinger.
When Mayor Michael Hancock woke up on Wednesday, he had an invitation to go to the White House, along with dozens of other mayors in Washington, D.C., for the United States Conference of Mayors. He had RSVP'd, yes. We didn't know that until we found out he wasn't going, with this tweet that Kyle read to you yesterday.
No, won't be going to the White House today. Better things to do than be part of a photo op for 45, President Trump, as he threatens cities again.
The tweet was in response to this letter the Department of Justice sent to Denver Police Chief Robert White, seeking documents about how higher-ups are telling law enforcement how to interact with federal agents. He followed the tweet with a written statement. "I refuse to meet with the president under these kinds of threats and fear-mongering." In full disclosure, Next found out the mayor wasn't going to meet with the president even before the Department of Justice letter. His office tells Next the mayor determined the White House visit was only going to be a photo op and not substantive. His spokeswoman told me when the DOJ blast came out, it sealed the deal for Mayor Hancock. So if you're scoring at home, Hancock RSVP'd yes, changed his mind, then Denver got the letter, then the mayor made his no-show public. For Next, I'm Marshall Zellinger.
Mayor's still in D.C. His office told us again today that he was too busy to talk with us about the Trump administration's crackdown on sanctuary cities like Denver. We'll be asking again tomorrow with the hopes that you'll hear from the mayor here soon. Our report last night on plans to revamp the 16th Street Mall needed an important piece of context, and you know the city of Denver and RTD were right to call us on it. The backstory is this. The homeless people who gather on the mall in Denver have been increasingly pushed out of sight in recent years. The plan to remodel the mall calls for the elimination of the median between mall shuttles. That median area is a spot that's popular with the homeless. We should have mentioned last night that the city says they don't think there's going to be any loss of seating or gathering areas. They're just going to shift where they're located. Both the city and RTD insist it's never been their intent to further push the homeless away from the tourists who frequent the mall. Next, we remember the man who made skiing sexy. It's been said about Warren Miller that he is the man who made the snowball that created the whole ski industry. His films begged you to get off the couch or out of the theater and go play in the mountains. He inspired and he entertained. Warren Miller died yesterday at the age of 93. Our Corey Reppenhagen looks at his impact in Colorado.
Just above me about 10 feet and try not to fall.
If I could live to be 93 and live a life that touched as many people and inspired as many people as Warren did and leave that legacy, I think that's something to be celebrated. So as sad as it is, it puts a smile on my face to see all that he's done and think about the impact that he's made on my life, certainly, and so many of the people around me.
Local filmmaker Josh Berman owns Level 1 Productions based here in Denver. 9 years ago, his small company got a big boost when ski film legend Warren Miller decided to help him out with his 10th anniversary film, even providing the voiceover.
Which was certainly one of the most amazing experiences as a filmmaker, and specifically as a ski filmmaker, that you could ever ask for. Something that I will never forget.
He says Warren would always say that a ski film is not just about filming people making jumps and turning left and right. It's about the people.
I've learned as time has gone on that it really is about a bigger meaning. It is about the people, the places, the stories you can tell.
Warren Miller is often credited with first bringing extreme skiing into pop culture, and his legacy lives on in almost every facet of outdoor and winter sports that now extends far past his ski films.
I feel like Warren's passing leaves a huge hole in this entire industry.
For Next, I'm Corey Reppenhagen.
The most Colorado thing we saw today is a license plate bearing a phrase I never thought I would have to say. Shred gnar. That's how the kids say it, right? You know, tearing it up, extreme snowboarding. Even better, the license plate spotted by Mark Pleiss in Denver is on a Subaru because, well, you know, Colorado.
The winds of change blowing in the 9 backyard tonight ahead of a storm that will bring more snow for the mountains just in time for the weekend. I'm meteorologist Kathy Sabin. The winds are very gusty over the foothills. There are no advisories to speak of, but areas of blowing snow, something you can count on in the northern mountains, where we will have a winter weather advisory go out for about a half a foot of snow. Temperatures are still in the mid-50s as gusty southerly winds increasing ahead of a storm that's still in Utah. Wind advisories for southeastern Wyoming, and this advisory covering Steamboat Springs means some of the best powder up there on Saturday will be in the northern mountains. We're saying goodbye to the mild air. Touch 60 in downtown Denver today. Will be seasonal tomorrow, back in the lower 40s. We have partly cloudy skies tonight. All the snow stays in the high country. You'll be dealing with that on I-70 if you're getting up into that powder tomorrow. But fast-moving storm out of here in about 24 hours' time. Partly cloudy and mild tonight. Our low 28. Foothill wind continues into the midday time period. Seasonal highs on Friday in the 40s. Warming trend for the weekend, near 50 Saturday, mid-50s Sunday, close to 60 Monday and Tuesday. Next storm and best chance for accumulating snow looks to be coming in Wednesday of next week, but it is beautiful in downtown Denver tonight.
Kathy, thanks. All right, let's play What Do You Say? We'll tackle a pronunciation of a place name that doesn't seem too hard unless you're a GPS device. And if it's insulting to say that someone skis in jeans, what does it mean that Steve Steger is running in jeans?
All right, working out with Dr. Max Wachtel. This is how I always work out in a full suit.
You look natural.
Thank you.
It looks great.
So you were talking about the difference between people who relax by sitting, people who relax by working out in a gym, and people who relax by going outside.
Yeah, so there was a study that looked at this. They looked at sitting around for 3 hours. They looked at walking on a treadmill for 3 hours. You may have to run. And then they looked at hiking for 3 hours. What they found, which is not all that surprising, is that people liked walking outside the best. But either of the two activities were better than sitting and watching a movie or reading a magazine.
Why is that? What does sitting do to our mind?
Nothing. It does absolutely nothing. Our brains turn to jelly. When we're up and we're moving, we're more creative. Our brains are more engaged. We're being flooded with endorphins. It feels really good. Now, the interesting part of the study is that the people who exercised outside, they said that was a lot easier than the 3 hours of exercising inside. But in actuality, they were really working out a lot harder outside than they were inside.
It was more grueling.
Yeah, it was much more grueling to be outside, but they actually felt like it was more grueling to be inside. So it's, you know, it really does make a difference where you're at. So, you know, we live in Colorado. It's a beautiful fall. We should be outside hiking around. We're going to feel really good.
So make yourself feel better. Don't stay in the gym and go outside.
That's right, and I am really impressed that you did this whole thing without falling down.
Dr. Max Wachtel, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, man was running in jeans. Nothing wrong with that. All right, let's play What Do You Say? Head out east, out I-70, the hub city of the Plains. A couple of next viewers asked for an assist, including Tom, a geologist in eastern Colorado, who says his phone just can't pronounce that place that starts with an L. So we asked the assistant town manager, what do you say?
It is Lyman, Colorado. Oh, I've heard various Lamones and things like that. Mostly Lamone is what it comes out. We need to, we correct and explain that apparently the name came from a foreman on the railroad that started the stop that was here.
So there you have it, Lyman. If you have not stopped there on a trip across the eastern plains, well then you, sir or ma'am, have a stronger bladder than most. Lyman nowadays is kind of the stopover place for people in transit on I-70. That's basically the industry of the town, and proudly so, the assistant town manager told us. We would love to help you settle a place name debate that you have with a friend, a coworker, your phone. Let us know. A city, a county, a river, a mountain range, anything. Email next@9news.com or get our attention with the hashtag HeyNext. May I make a recommendation? Point you towards something, anything that didn't come from us but is certainly worth your time. The Fort Collins Coloradan has a great story about a former CSU football player. Steve O'Michael got a football scholarship to attend CSU. So he left his poor neighborhood in Orlando to move to Colorado. He got a degree in social work, and you know what? He went back home to work for the Orange County Fire Department. His first call took him back to the apartment complex where he was raised. He spends a lot of his time responding to medical calls. He said, quote, "There's no greater feeling than to be able to get off the truck and just being able to help people in my community." We encourage you to read a bit of good news today. It's in the next section of 9news.com. It is a sign that if we can't beat tailgaters, we can at least laugh about it. Next. Doggles are a thing. I didn't realize it until yesterday. Hey, it's a sign spotted by next viewer Jake Camuso. I brake for tailgaters. Yeah, it certainly looks like that guy did at least once, right? The result's pretty clear to see. Jay saw this poor car up in Broomfield. We blurred the license plate because it didn't have a Q for you. Those are the only letters that we show to protect privacy of people who get slammed into by tailgaters. Sticker first or hit first? Hit? We think hit first. If you see a sign, send it to us next at 9news.com or the hashtag HeyNext. Bryce writes in, thanks for dissecting the press conference with the Adams County Sheriff. That was weird to watch this afternoon. I don't know that it was really weird. I got the sense that it was a sheriff who was grieving and trying to hold his department together, and he thought there were inaccuracies in the media. Turns out apparently there weren't. Just some information that they didn't want out there. I agree with TPF. He just lost a deputy. Got to give him a break. See you next time.